Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Live. I have survived. Welcome to the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. I am your alive and kicking and surviving coronavirus host, Big Daddy Gonzo. It is now officially a club because about, what was it, 8 months ago?
March.
Back in March, so what would we get, December?
7 months?
9 months
8
ago?
months?
I
I don't even know. It goes
easily 8 months ago.
It's a blur.
You got it. You got the coronavirus, and you brought that shit into my house. Okay, you had no idea. Like, oh, I just got a head cold or some shit. I don't know. Blah, blah. And then a week later, you're like, oh, what do you know? I tested positive for coronavirus. I'm like, you asshole. Oh my god, what a panic! It just, I mean, absolute freaked out panic for about a day. And then I immediately, because I'm a pragmatic dude. I really am a glass half full kind of guy. And I went, well, screw it. If I get it, then I'll get that out of the way.
Herd immunity.
I'll immediately get my herd immunity, get my antibodies, and nope, wasn't slick enough to catch it. I mean, and that was like 2 days after the club closed.
Yeah.
2 days after the lockdown started.
But instead,
so that would have been the perfect time to get it because I wouldn't have missed 2 weeks of work, and I wouldn't have missed Thanksgiving with my family.
Yeah, and plus you were in a different category now catching COVID than you would have been back in, let's say, March when I had it.
Oh yeah, no,
considering your
you
surgery
were
and
cut
stuff.
Your head off and bury you put you in a pit grave and set your body on fire back then. That was it.
Well, you check a few boxes in terms of in that high risk, certainly with the heart condition that you just went through and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I would have been better off getting it back then because I didn't have the heart condition back then.
But in all honesty, you got through it better than I did. It seemed. I mean, you were like 4 or 5 days, a little bit gross, and then
4 days.
Yeah,
4
and
days.
for me, it was like 11 days. So, I've been saying all along is that it just, with this virus, still to this day, even though they finally do have a vaccine, not finally, I mean, they have a vaccine.
Right.
It affects everybody differently. It doesn't really matter, I think, what boxes you check going in necessarily.
Right.
As they like to say, you're high risk, you're this, you're that. You were about as high risk as they get when it comes to that. And you came through with flying colors.
Hi, how you doing? Hi. I forgot to fix a few things as part of my set craft here, so.
No, I like that.
Hi,
Hey!
Late producer I forgot to do.
Well, we were both very lucky to come out the other side, clearly, and hopefully with your antibodies and my antibodies, we can save the world.
Yeah, and I do want to remind people that all the horror stories that you hear about, all the people on ventilators and all the people that are dying, that are getting lifelong conditions and side effects from this virus, not to poo-poo it in any way, shape, or form, okay, but it's a very small percentage of the population, okay? It's sad, it's bad, it's something that, the virus is rolling out, they're in the air right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're being delivered to 135 or 145 sites tomorrow. So the process has begun there. And I just want everybody to kind of dial back on the fear factor a little bit. It's a shitty, virulent form of the flu. And it got me for 3 nights. On the third night, my temperature went down to about 101, 101.2. But the first 2 bad nights, it spiked up to 103. And of course, now with the concentration on my heart health, I take my blood pressure obsessively at least 2 times a day. And at the point that I took my temperature at 103, I also took my blood pressure, and I had to do a double take. And it's like, is this thing broken? It was 181 over 80. Yeah. So, so it was a harrowing 72 hours, and also another annoying 72 hours on the tail end of it.
Waiting for the results of your
Waiting
test.
for the results of the there's two types of tests. There's the antigen test and there's PCR test. And the PCR test is considered to be the most accurate, which is fine at any condition, whether you're symptomatic or asymptomatic. And the antigen test is only considered to be more accurate after you're done with your symptoms. Okay, the antigen test was also found to miss a lot of asymptomatic carriers, which was a big problem.
Yeah.
But it's still effective if you've had symptoms, if you were sick and then you got over it, then it's a little more accurate. And so I got my antigen test, which was negative, which enabled me to go back to work. And
start kissing people again.
right?
Yeah.
And
Awkward.
and start licking handrails
Yeah.
and doorknobs.
Yeah, cool.
Because God knows I did that all the time.
Back to normal.
But yeah, back to the normal window licking. And
That's what kept me on the short bus for the first 3 years of my primary education.
well, you were officially the window cleaner.
Crayons and windows.
Is that,
Yeah.
Boy, them crayons on your breath.
People don't understand the different colors do have different flavors.
They
So,
do.
Yeah, they do. The yellows
They
are
do.
my favorite.
The yellow, close to lemon. Is that what that is?
I got banana out of it, but it's just maybe it was more mind over matter, literally. But
Everybody's got their own flavor.
yeah,
So I'm here to tell you, try not to be so afraid, but be on guard, be diligent, of course. You don't need to be that afraid if you've got a good immune system. It is essentially killing old people and people with diabetes.
Yeah,
and
that are very,
fat
very
people.
sick.
Fat people. But even some of us fat people with good immune systems, we only had to deal with really 4 days of misery.
Yeah.
And then an extra 3 days, and now it's going on 5 days waiting for. I mean, they said that they said that the results are going to be back in 2 to 5 days, and then I called them on day 6, and they said, well, it might be 4 to 6 days. Here I am on day 10, waiting for my PCR test to come back.
well, maybe you're supposed to add 4 and 6.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so enough of my coronavirus report. You are all caught up.
I'm glad you're feeling better. That's the most important thing.
I'm glad I'm feeling alive, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what, it really was miserable for the first 3 days. I mean, I know you had 11 days of misery.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
And don't ever bring that shit in my house again.
Try not to.
you had no idea.
No
you were
idea.
like, oh, this is just the bar crud that we
No
like,
idea.
yeah, well, we were foolhardy back in March, but now we know. Now we're wise.
Yeah.
Now looking over your shoulder, and I'm seeing Kurt Warner and Michael Irvin go round and round and round about something. We got a lot on tap this week. I mean, we have 14 games today.
Yeah. It's a busy day.
We have 13 games during the day here on Sunday. And then we have one game tonight. So 14 games. It's been a while since we've had 14 games.
Well, because we've had Wednesday games, so
Yeah, exactly.
when you have a Wednesday football game, it's gonna kind of shave off the number of games you're gonna have on the weekend.
It's actually Wednesday afternoon football.
Yeah, which again, I'm not complaining. I'm just
It's like,
stating
good
a
afternoon,
fact.
everybody, and welcome to Wednesday
Yeah.
football.
Yeah. It's like, what are you supposed to do when you have a football on at
Is there
3:30?
a signature sound for that? Bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum, bum. You know what it is? It's the Price is Right clunker. It's like boom, boom, ba boom.
Yeah, there you go.
So we have a huge slate of games today.
A lot of games.
And I can honestly tell you that I'm bitter. I'm bitter about missing the playoffs, especially in you and I are in a couple of leagues together.
Yes.
But I was only in 2 leagues this year because of financial reasons and COVID and all of that. But the one that's important to me was one where the Bruise Brothers were the defending champions at our club league.
Yes.
And I was in the division that can best be described as the NFC East this year, where At one time, we had a 4-way tie of 4 sub 500 teams.
Correct, but
for the league.
Listen,
the lead.
head to head, and unfortunately, you found this out, is not a true indicative storyline for how your team is, because with your team not making the playoffs, you were still second in points this year. So
second in points scored,
Yeah.
and second in points against.
yeah, that story has played out with me, it seems, too many times over the years. Where
It happens.
You go up against buzzsaws where you're the second highest scoring team of the week, but you've played the best team of the week.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happened many times. So
It happens.
It was
I
your
mean-
turn. Hopefully, you just get it out of the way this year. Refocus on next year.
Well, listen, how many total years experience playing fantasy football do you have?
Oh, I don't even know.
Total years. When did you start your first fantasy football league?
Probably back in 91, maybe 92. I was home
Yeah.
from college, so probably around that time, I'd
Yeah,
say.
so 28, 29 years.
Plus, yeah. That was when, obviously, we've talked about this. You have to, it was Monday morning getting the Sun Sentinel and then
Right.
turning to the back of the
we
sports
got USA
page.
Today too. We got
Yeah.
the double reference.
And then literally the commissioners, whoever they were, I think I was a commissioner several times through the years, but you'd have to go through literally and hand do all of the scoring
yeah.
the next day. So you would, I mean, as your team, you would keep track of your own players through the day, but certainly the official final scoring wasn't
Right.
announced until like Monday at like 6, as long as the Monday night game didn't play in. At least you had an idea where you were.
Right.
Yeah, those are the good old days of fantasy football.
Well, we even developed like a democratic system. We had an assistant commissioner. We had somebody who could help double check the stats.
Okay, smart.
And we had back then in the beginning it was all spiral notebooks, clipboards, dry erase boards. We even had we had for a few drafts we had a big board with stickers of the names of the players, or a magnetic board, and we would put the draft up and down that board. It was. Let me tell you what, before computers, before it became computerized, before it became digitized, we had some pretty epic draft parties. By the end of by the 14th round, all right, who's picking?
Here's something I never told you. One of our drafts, we actually grabbed 2 girls from Diamond Dolls to do our draft board. I would say this would have been right around year probably 2000 or 2001.
So they were most likely one of them was Brazilian.
No, actually, you know what? 2 American girls.
2 American girls.
Okay. One was taller, one was shorter. They were friends. Don't remember their names. I couldn't. They're in their 40s or 50s now, but whatever. They were available, and we hooked it up. My buddy used to go there a lot. This is before, obviously, I wasn't working there yet, and I wasn't that guy. I mean, I was like, "What are we doing? We're going to a club to get
You
girls."
had hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some, and I think we paid him. I think we may have paid him like maybe $200 each. We all got money together.
Wow.
And obviously we had food, we drank, we had a lot of different stuff. And they were cool. They had no idea what they were doing, but they literally would.
Did they get the boobies out?
You know what? They came normally dressed. It wasn't like they were dressed up a little bit. But no, we had told them, listen, casual, we just want, pretty faces there. Do our draft type of thing. It's exciting. The guys are looking forward to
You don't have
it.
to touch nobody.
No, it wasn't like that at all. They just literally would stand there, and when you called your team, and again, it's a great idea because one of us used to have to always go up to the draft board and go put either you did it individually or you had one guy that had all the papers. No, we had these girls do it for us.
Right on.
Now there was a lot of name spellings. We were like Falk with an F, and they're like, okay, and then you go up to the board and fight. It's a blue card.
Blue. It's blue, sweetheart.
So, but anyway, yeah, those are the good old days of fantasy football. So
I miss it. I miss it. I can tell you that on more than a couple of occasions, and this would probably I'd have to probably say before 1998, 2000, before we started getting into the more organized digital era, we had some in-person parties that were pretty off the hook.
Yeah.
I mean, by the 12th, 13th, 14th round, we're all wasted.
draft day was phenomenal.
Just wait. It was a party.
Yeah, you're
it
right.
was a party. Late August
Yeah, it's different now.
party. I mean, I remember one party we had a guy run out and jump in his pool. He's like, woo! He got a pick he wanted and he jumped in the pool. Stuff like that. So
Yeah.
The digital era kind of took that away, and now COVID's kind of taken that away. But I hope in the next 2 or 3 years, as things calm down and everybody's calm and not afraid to get the cooties from being around each other, that I'll be able to throw an in-person draft party. You can bring all your laptops and tablets all you want,
Yeah.
but throw an in-person draft party. I mean, we still had them, at the Double D. We still had them, and
Yeah.
you would figure that an in-person draft party at a strip club would be, woo, get the boobies out.
Not there. Everybody's heads are in their books, and yeah, it's all it is the venue. It's not really
Yeah.
about where we're going.
I mean, it's a great venue. It's a beautiful, long marble top bar.
Yeah, it's convenient.
Great furniture.
Yeah.
I mean, we work in a pretty nice place.
Yeah.
But you literally, I would have to say this. I mean, there's been a few drafts where, business started. Because business starts up there at 12:30, and the football crowd comes in and everything.
Slowly, they
Right.
kind of drag in a little bit there.
But we would never get the girls to come over and harass the guys. And a lot of these guys that are in our league, they're regulars at the club or whatnot.
Yeah.
And the girls would say, "Hi, Poppy," but they just keep walking because
No.
they know he's busy.
yeah, it's
He's
like
busy
they're
'cause he's face down. He's like,
they're
"Who's up?"
yeah they're intimidated slightly. Well, plus they're mostly Cubans, and they don't know what American football is or the value of what
They
American
just know we're
football is.
busy.
Yeah, so they understand how it works.
Well, and listen, those girls are very intuitive. They're very smart. Okay, I mean, all women in our business are intuitive, and they're a lot smarter than you give them credit for. Okay, even though you might want to say, well, if they're so smart, why are they strippers? Well, let me tell you what. There's a lot of registered nurses and medical technicians and chemical people with master's degree in chemical engineering, and you'd be very, very surprised.
They started on a stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started on the stage. Yeah. They went to school. They actually worked, working my way through college, stripping my way through. Yes, they did that. They do that. And went into the profession, and then the profession didn't work out. And you're like, well, guess what? I'm still under 30, and I'm still hot, and I'm still skinny and got a rack, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to go make some money. And so these women would never go anywhere near us. But I recall a certain Instagram photo that was taken. I believe it was Danny that took the Instagram photo. And on the VIP stage, there were boobies. And he took a down the bar photo on his phone, and just up here in the top right-hand corner, I mean, because my ugly mug was here, and everybody, Joe was there.
It's one of those Where's Waldo shots you go through and you screen, and you're like, oh, wow,
and
who's
I
that?
told him, this was like 5 years ago, and I told him, I said, you got a naked stripper in your shot, right? Huh? Yep, there's a naked stripper in the shot. No way. Yep, and it got through. It got through. It sat there. It's probably still sitting there on his Instagram feed.
Wow.
There's a naked girl. There's boobies in a fantasy football shot. I'm so digressive today. I don't know why.
Is there football? What are we talking about?
There's
here?
football. Where
Oh my gosh!
I've gotten coronavirus, boobs,
Instagram
nostalgia.
shot, yeah. All right.
Do we actually have topics we want to cover?
There's a couple of games we can discuss. You guys have a
Or
pretty
we
good
can
one
keep
today.
bullshitting for another
Yeah,
45
minutes.
I mean,
Yeah. Dolphins have a pretty big game today. Make a statement, perhaps.
It's Chiefs week. The champ is here.
Yeah.
The champs are here. And Myles Gaskin, just yesterday, speaking of COVID, here we go, right back to COVID again. Jeez Louise. Myles Gaskin stuck on the COVID reserve list. And they don't specify whether he's got it or he was exposed to it. But we now are missing our top three running backs, even though that third top three running back, Savon Ahmed, was a practice. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
You okay?
You got me.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was a little juicy. There's a
There
little
was something
coffee in
there.
it, too.
Yeah, I smell hazelnut.
No, that's butter pecan.
Oh, butter pecan? Okay.
So the Miami Dolphins are now going with DeAndre Washington, formerly of the Oakland Raiders and formerly just this season of the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. So he is the starting running back today, along with Patrick Laird.
Yeah, Patrick Laird,
who is what I would call
more of a third down back.
Right. Well, you ever see the movie Mean Girls?
Yeah.
He's Fetch. Stop trying to make Fetch happen. Patrick Laird is just he's a good special teams player.
Sure.
He's a good fill-in third down back, like you said. He's not Christian McCaffrey. He's not the great white hope. Okay, good football player, good work habits. But if we had three real running backs, he would only be playing special teams. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate today too because with the matchup, the Chiefs. If you're going to attack the Chiefs, you're going to go out. You're going to go after them on the ground.
Run.
Yeah, in the last 6 or 7 weeks, they're like 5th or 6th worse against the run. So I mean, listen,
kept the Broncos in that game last week.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs are clearly the best team in football. I mean, but every team does have a weakness, and the Chiefs is versus the run lately. But here's another stat about the Chiefs that's interesting too. Their offense, we know their big play capability. Tyreek Hill, big play down the field. They got complementary guys like Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman. All these guys get you over the top.
Right.
Their last 7 possessions in the red zone has been 1 field goal total. So, obviously, there's some sort of story being told there. Now, they haven't been running the ball that great over the last several weeks. That could be a part of it, is that balance. You know, teams like to have balance on offense.
Which is surprising because they've got 3 good running backs.
Excuse me, yeah, they do. But, and especially now with Le'Veon coming over.
Right.
Yeah, he's getting touches. He's getting work. He's
It's
10,
surprising.
12 touches a game.
It's surprising.
But they beat you over the top. That's their identity.
Yep.
Is they're going to
Put 'em
be
in a box and they're not
2 yards,
effective.
2 yards, 60 yards, you know, and that's what it is. Tyreek Hill, 7 of his touchdowns this year are out of the red zone.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not like they can't score. They're the third best scoring offense in the league. It's just that you know how they're going to score. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Dolphins with their defense, how good they've been playing, how they match up against the Chiefs. Who do you think they're going to put on Tyreek today? Is it going to be Xavier? Or do you think it's going to be just matchup based in terms of what plays are being called?
Smart money would be on Xavier Howard shadowing
Tyreek Hill.
1-on-1, mano a mano,
Right.
all that crap.
Top 5 corner, in my opinion.
Right, but if you see Hill going in motion a lot, that means that they're trying to shake him loose.
Sure.
Okay, so you'll be able to tell right away with Kansas City on offense if you see number 10 in motion, running all over the place, and he'll go in motion around the back of the running back into the backfield. He'll go down the line. He'll stop and he'll go back the other way, trying to find some way to shake off whatever man defender. And teams have put their best man defender against him. Okay, with limited success or some success.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still
know.
need a little bit of help over the top because
They
clearly,
got him. Oh my God.
yeah. So I
Guy
again
runs 100 miles an hour.
the issue with focusing on that one player. That's why the Chiefs have been so good because they can beat you in so many ways through the air.
Right.
And Mahomes just doesn't make mistakes. He can make any throw on the field. So interesting matchup today. I kind of like the Dolphins a little bit. Unfortunately, though, again, despite that they're not at full strength at the running back position, but you got an angry runner perhaps today.
DeAndre Washington will get his revenge.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in the NFL, these storylines that pop up, and they're like, these guys come out of nowhere, and they're 22 carries for $130.
But they usually happen to the Dolphins.
Well, against the Dolphins,
Against
yeah.
the Dolphins. Yes, it usually happens to the Dolphins.
Yeah, maybe
I
today
cannot
they
tell
can-
you, come on, I know you can think of players off the top of your head that were playing for the Dolphins one week and then playing for another team and playing against the Dolphins
Yeah.
and just ate them up.
Yeah, Kendrick Drake, Lamar
Okay.
Miller, all
Yeah.
these guys have come back.
Well, Drake didn't get his revenge per se.
Not yet. He scored in that game, though, I
He
thought.
did score in
Yeah,
that game, but
yeah.
he wasn't the reason why
Yeah.
they won that game. He wasn't the reason why they ran wild.
No, I get it. But still, he had a little bit of success against his former team. Guys, that's the whole narrative from guys going back to their former teams. Yeah, they got relationships and friends over there, but not
Dante
Washington.
Culpepper. That was
that's
one
a
of the
big one,
ultimates
too.
right there. Dante Culpepper sticking it to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
3 rushing touchdowns, two passing touchdowns.
He was angry that day.
A year after they gave up on him, they cut him and they sent him. They exiled him he had to sign with the Raiders. You know, so
Yeah.
he came in and stuck it to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
And
I think that was his best last game,
yeah,
too.
I was gonna say that was
after
the best
that, it was
last
about
game.
it.
That was his swan song.
Pretty
Good.
much.
You feel good? You feel
Yeah.
like a big man now?
He's still feeling it.
Yeah, exactly.
So listen, good game today. Obviously, the Dolphins, their turnaround has been tremendous from where they were at the same point last year, from being perhaps the worst team in football. Maybe slightly overstated when you throw terms out like worst team. They were bad, and now they're not. And the coaches,
talent-wise, they were the bottom of the barrel. That's for sure.
the whole organization. I mean, comments from Mark Schlereth last year going into training camp. He spent a lot of time down here, and we've talked about it. His comments directly were, I believe that this could be the worst-run franchise in the NFL as of this point. Disorganized, ownership issues, didn't have a coach at that point. I think it was still Gase.
Right.
And
Oh, yeah.
So there was a lot of things being swirling around down here about how we're just stuck in where we are. But 1 year removed, and everything's working. I mean, honestly, I think everything is working. They got rid of starting with the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, and people were like, how do you trade your best player? How? Because you got 5 draft picks, and you got all these other things in motion now, players that are all moving in the same direction under a new leadership, new regime. Buying into the system is important when it comes to football, and it's such an important team sport. They're doing it, and they are a playoff team right now.
Well, we still have yet to reap the full benefits of the Laramie Tunsil Kenny Stills trade. Okay, by the way, Kenny Stills is still a free agent, still out there as a free agent, got cut. All right, and rumor has it because he had himself a bit of a vocal meltdown in the locker room and started yelling and screaming, and they were like, well, if you don't want to be here,
That usually does it. Yeah.
They usually get you out of town real quick.
It usually doesn't.
Which I was very surprised he wasn't signed immediately by the Dolphins, but I guess they didn't want him and his bad attitude back. I don't know.
Well, that stuff travels
I thought
too.
he had a great I thought he had a great attitude when he was here.
We only see small percentages of what
Yeah.
actually goes down,
I
even
know.
through the media. So,
But we have yet to reap the full benefits of that trade, and that's coming up this offseason.
Yeah.
This trade, the 2021 draft, because we have Houston's first and second round draft choice. So I see, and it's funny, I see that as
and they're bad.
the Herschel Walker trade. Okay, I see that as the Herschel Walker trade for the Miami Dolphins. Okay, you got rid of a player who is good. Laramie Tunsil was good, and Kenny Stills was a throw-in. Okay, so that we could get 2 first-round draft choices, 2 second-round draft choices, and a 4th-round draft choice. Okay, good. We threw them in. At the time, we had plenty of wide receivers. We had plenty of capital. And then guys all started opting out because of coronavirus. Understandable. But to have these 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, then we're going to see the benefit. Because let me tell you, even though General Manager Chris Greer, a guy who's come up through the organization, okay, a guy who started in the Patriots organization and then came here in the early 2000s and worked his way up through the organization, sat behind Mike Tannenbaum for 4 years as an assistant general manager, watching and seeing how to do it right and to do it wrong, okay? And he hasn't been perfect. I mean, the running back debacle today, as we sit today, as we go into with our 5th string and 6th string running backs, the running back debacle is all on him. He signed. He traded for Breida. He signed Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, at that point, I thought, and we'd even discussed it, that what they were trying to do was get veterans that they can put around a rookie quarterback and make him as comfortable as they possibly can.
Swing and a miss.
And we're
especially on Howard.
But we're going to sacrifice results because, again, the most important thing was development.
Right.
But now the Dolphins have exceeded the development stage and have now into the successful stage.
Right.
Despite the shortcomings at the position. But, again, some of it is COVID-related, and that's something that you cannot blame the Dolphins for.
And everybody gets a piece of that this year.
And it's fair. Okay. That's a fair criticism. I mean, assuming that that's the reason why they're not playing. Now, Jordan Howard is.
There's no crying about it because everybody's been affected by it, some worse than others.
Yeah, obviously you all, at least everybody started at the same place. I mean, where you end up, that's on the virus.
There's no inequity here. I mean, we understand everybody takes a hit from this virus. It's been a horrendous situation for all 30 teams.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of missing from the general manager's perspective, there hasn't been many misses. It's been all hits. I mean, for the most part,
he's had a few. I mean, and we're still working on live in. Well, at least it was a great area to live in. It's still pretty great. And Florida has no income tax, and Florida is Florida. face facts.
People want to come here and
Yeah,
play.
I mean, screw living in Baltimore or Boston or
Cleveland or even Green Bay.
Or God, Minnesota, Green Bay. Cold. Nobody wants to live where the air hurts your face.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's part of the development of the culture. Okay? Which is the reason why we see a guy like 7th round draft choice Myles Gaskins, who overcame two guys that were brought in via trade and free agency to be the starting running back because he practiced harder, he worked harder, he showed more.
Oh, he bought into the new culture, is what
Right.
you're saying.
He is a creature of the culture.
Yeah, but it's important also mentioning a guy like Howard because you also want to understand where you came from. And he's a guy that can be an example from where they were and the struggles and understand those and be able to define them and explain those to the new culture.
He's grown up in
Yeah,
Miami.
and then be a part of the transition of success where obviously with a new coach, with a new direction, with a new set of confidence, and obviously draft is important. They've drafted well. Again, coming into the season, no one predicted the Dolphins would be in the position they are right now. And everything,
Least of all me.
and everything has to be on the coach, the coaching staff, the organization, the buy-in of the players, like you're saying, new coming in, old players, veterans that have been there. It's impressive, and the Dolphins are a story. They're one of the. He is clearly in position for Coach of the Year, depending upon about how things play out. Certainly for the Dolphins, but if the Dolphins are a playoff team, let's say Dolphins take one, they're probably going to be a road team. Okay, It's going to be tough for them to get a home game, but Dolphins go on the road to win a playoff game. Are you kidding me? I mean, no one. It's
Bobby Flo.
There's a lot of good stories.
Bell's going to be available next year.
He may be. He's not coming back to Pittsburgh.
Bring AB and Le'Veon back.
Sure. Yeah. Put him under the same contract. When you don't run the football, it's a lot of pressure on your quarterback. And Ben's played good this year, but Ben's also throwing the ball 50 times a game. Now, we've changed our scheme a little bit. We're not the ground and pound team that maybe people think the Steelers are or have been for many years.
Used to be.
We run almost like the Patriots-esque type offense. Ben right now this year, and again, you would have never said this either, gets rid of the ball the fastest of any quarterback in football. Okay, he has hit the least out of any quarterback in football.
Yeah.
So again, those things coincide; they go hand in hand.
He reminds me of Dan Marino.
His release, the way things are moving right now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's pretty much now. Again, part of it has been because we have good receivers that, for some godforsaken reason, lead the NFL in drops now. 37, I believe it is total.
Crazy.
There's Mike Tomlin. His last press conference, he was unhappy. He said a few things. I wish that we could have provided that clip for you, but I'm going to
There were 3 beeps.
Yeah, I'm going to summarize it for you. He said, "We suck. The receivers cannot drop the football." He goes, "You know how I feel about making routine plays. Routine plays get made. If they don't get made, we get somebody else that come in here and make them." So I'm going to say the Steelers receivers are on notice, regardless of who they are. There's a lot of them, so there's a lot of spots to fill.
Wait, I can do a Tomlin impression. Hang on one second. That was a JV effort. I can honestly tell you, that sucked. That sucked. It's as simple as that. We didn't do all the things that needed to be done because he got the wild eyes going. Like
Yeah,
you could
he
just
does.
tell.
Yeah.
You can tell his blood pressure is like 300 over 150. It's just like, and I'm barely controlling myself. I want to take this microphone and I want to beat the crap out of everybody in this room.
It was the first
Okay,
interview
you know,
I
so-
saw with him not wearing a hat, in all honesty.
He was about to lose his damn mind.
Yeah, he was not happy. And again, listen, we have won football games. We're 11-1. It's the
Yeah.
second best record or tied for the best record with the Chiefs in football. But there are some glaring weaknesses, and not running the football is a glaring weakness. Come playoff time, late in the season, you got to be able to run the football.
That's true. What do you want, masked man?
Losses.
Devin Bush.
Devin Bush, outside linebacker.
Devin Bush, not my Bush.
Dupree, inside linebacker. Switch those.
Right. They lost Devin Bush. They lost Bubba or what?
Bud Dupree.
Bud
You got one more.
Today,
You got one more.
no Joe Hayden.
No Joe Hayden. How's that working out for you?
It's not. It's not working out at all.
Not good.
The Steelers need to re-identify who they are. Now, again, I don't necessarily think it's a personnel issue. in terms of being able to run the football. There's
Right.
4 different guys that can run the football for the Steelers. Connor is the number one. He's dealt with some injuries. He was on COVID. I mean, he's got some things going on there. He's never been on the field for all 16 games anyway. But you have to commit to the run. You have to at least show teams that you're willing to at least present yourself as perhaps running the football. You can't just have Ben sit back there if he's getting hit or not and throwing the ball 50 times. That game against the Ravens that we won 2 weeks ago, he threw the ball 54 times against a team that had 17 players on the COVID list. And the Steelers, that was a one-possession football game. So last week we got exposed. Washington came in there and they beat our butts. Today now with the injuries on the defensive side, forget not being able to run the football. If we can't stop the run, which has been an issue as of late, and now with some of these injuries, it's going to be a tough haul these next few weeks. You know, perhaps we peaked at the wrong time. Perhaps this is really who we are at this point. It's going to be interesting to see today. But that's the Steelers. That's my take on my team. So 11-1, great start. Today, great test. And I think it's going to really say something today. If the Steelers can pull out a victory against the Bills today, who are a very good football team, I would be surprised. But, again, very happy. And listen, 2 good football teams. They got to show it. They got to play on the field. Weather's no concern today. I think there's no real weather issues across the entire NFL. So no wind, no rain, no snow.
Get out of here. Really?
Yeah, it's not a bad day for football. Now, that's changing. That's going to change in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure as we get more into the winter season, weather plays a factor. And those tangibles, stopping the run, running the football, become critical. So we'll see the direction at which the Steelers are headed.
Well, I find it really funny that the NFL has kind of adapted. Yes, it's important to run the football late in the season because of weather, because of snow, and all of that shit. And yes, I'm just cursing like a sailor today. I don't care.
2 quick ones.
I am all over the place. I opened the show with some cursing.
I think you did.
I'm about to get into some cursing because I'm finding out that our restream did not start our feed for YouTube, which will have me cursing even more. Listen, it's just been that kind of year. But don't worry, the network will be, we got what, Fantasy Football 59? No, that's you. Why is it 59? Sports Desk 59.
I think we're 60, right?
Yeah, we're 60.
Yeah.
You bastards. What the hell?
I'll keep talking.
You keep talking. No, I'm live talking about this crap.
Yeah.
But the network is going to be regrouping next year. You know, here we are in the middle of December. But we are going to be regrouping next year. After my surgery and my health issues, there's just been delay after delay after delay. And since we're such a small operation, if my fat ass can't go, nobody can go. So along with my producer, who was handling a lot of our remote shows and our off-site, out-of-studio shows or studio shows from other locations, he's also had his own personal life problems. So don't worry, we're gonna reboot in January, very soon, very quick in January too. The Gonzo Radio Show will be back in January. We, of course, will be back, in January. After the Super Bowl, we may take a short break and then bring you baseball.
NBA, though, too.
NBA.
Starts next week.
Oh, we gotta start talking about NBA.
There's a lot of NBA stuff coming up.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to DFS. Okay, because I'm out of the playoffs, and I'm bitter as hell about it.
I didn't get to toot my own horn, though.
Oh, okay. Well, here, saxophone solo.
Because your partner over here, by the way, number 1
Yeah.
in the league in points.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now it means nothing.
Because I was second. I had the second highest amount of points in the league. But somehow you managed to win 9 games.
Well, listen, I think it's a good representation that you and I, who obviously talk about sports, also bring it. 1 and 2 in the league in points. Now, unfortunately for you, you didn't make the playoffs, but it's head to head.
I happen to be second in the league in points against.
Yeah, it's head to head. So there's some things that are out of your control. Clearly, I think in
fantasy
2020
football.
we've learned that there are things that are out of our control.
I hate fantasy football. It's stupid.
But listen, you were 2 in points. Would you start the NFL season fantasy wise, and somebody walks up to you and says, "Hey, listen, we're going to fast forward 18 weeks, and you're going to be 2 in points. Are you taking it?" Yeah.
Sure.
I think so, yeah.
Sure, because listen, once again, like I was saying, with the combined amount of knowledge and experience in fantasy football between the two of us, me 31 years, you 29 years, so 60 years
Yeah.
of fantasy football experience, we have seen the craziest crap you have ever seen. We have seen, we've seen the team that scored the most points in a league finished 3 games under 500.
Sure, it happens.
Okay, finished 3 games under 500. Why? Because they had 5 games where they were the highest scoring team every week, destroyed.
Yeah, and you can't do a damn thing about it.
And there were 8 games where they ran into the high score of the week. They underperformed. They missed a guy. They lost by a half a point. As people like to say, shit happens.
It does.
It just does.
I pride myself on my ability to draft. I think I come in prepared.
So do we.
I think I come in not just with a plan, but can adjust to the plan.
Sure.
And I just feel like I have a good knack for taking a player or two that may be off the radar that usually do pretty well for me this year. And those 2 guys for me this year, that when I took Ronald Jones in the 6th round, people were like, Who's Ronald Jones? Now, again, his body of work, he's in the top 10, I think, in overall production.
Yep.
But certainly that's exceeded what most people thought because everybody was all about the receivers in Tampa Bay. And Brady, and rightfully so, they have a lot of weapons. And another guy, Justin Jefferson, who will clearly be the Rookie of the Year. But he's had a monstrous year in Minnesota.
Did they find the next Chris Carter in Minnesota? Is that what he is?
You know what? It's 1 year, and Chris Carter clearly is one of the best receivers that ever played a game, despite all of his struggles. We can do a whole show on that.
Right.
This kid, Justin Jefferson, does it all. Routes, speed, hands, and he has no issue being the number 1 because he's seeing the best corners on the other side. He's seeing defensive coverages roll now to him, knowing how good he is, and his numbers haven't declined. They've gotten better as the season progressed. So here's a guy that Minnesota is very happy, and I'm happy because I've got him on my team. So, in any case, proud of the fact of my drafting ability. We do plan, we do prep. I think it shows clearly 1 and 2. I think that says something. So congratulations to you too, even though it didn't pan out result-wise. But like I tell my daughter, effort is number 1. Results clearly is number 2. So can't control the results all the time. Too many variables.
So mad, dude.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
First of all, I lost the play-in game by 5.3 points. And also the story of this team is that we started the wrong quarterback. Okay, I know it's cost me. I know it cost me 2 games during the season that I started the wrong quarterback. Okay, that's on me. I started Kirk Cousins over Ryan Tannehill, 6.5 point difference. Did not think that Tannehill was going to get into a shootout with the with having to play catch up with the Cleveland Browns. Did not nobody could have predicted that.
Mm-mm.
You could have taken 100 experts across the board, and 98 of them would have been both teams are going to try to run the ball down each other's throat. Okay, simple as that. And the exact opposite happened. Cleveland jumped all over Tennessee, got up big, and then Tennessee had to play catch up. The story of Ryan Tannehill's career with the Miami Dolphins. So that kind of backfired. I also missed 2 opportunities on the 1-yard line with Dalvin Cook late in the Minnesota game.
Yeah.
I also missed an opportunity with A.J. Brown fumbling twice, including one time at the 2-yard line trying to bull his way into the end zone. There were a lot of points. And then Devontae Parker getting ejected for fighting. Ejected.
That's terrible.
For fighting.
Yeah.
In a game where he had 3 jump ball fade targets in the end zone, in a game where he had ample opportunity to score a touchdown, which would have sealed the deal for me. And then Raheem Mostert, the secret weapon, probably the most dangerous player on my team. Okay, probably the most dangerous player on my team. And the San Francisco 49ers decided that they were going to use everybody at running back. Debo Samuel, here, give him a couple of carries.
Sure.
Brandon Ayuk, give him a couple of carries. You know, the water boy, yeah, he's going to get a goal line shot. Okay, so the universe aligned itself against my team for that one game.
Pretty much. That's what it seems like.
For that one game. And I'm bitter as hell. I'm going to be bitter about that. I mean, 2 years ago, I had a team that missed the playoffs that was scoring 170 points a game.
Yeah.
2 years ago. Okay. And I watched that team score 180 points, 190 points in the consolation round, which would have killed everybody in the playoffs.
Been there.
And I'm just sitting there and I'm like Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own. I'm like,
I've had fired kickers ruin my seasons eventually.
Oh.
So I've had nightmare stories. We all got them. That's why it's fantasy football, because the fantasies sometimes aren't great fantasies. Sometimes they're bad fantasies, and this one for you.
oh, this is
going to linger.
Beautiful naked woman. It's Salma Hayek doing the snake dance in From Dusk Till Dawn, and then turning into a friggin' vampire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with a
It's
penis.
just-
Yeah.
But really, you had to drag penis into
I'm
it.
just saying. I mean, that would really put a cap.
Isn't
on it.
vampire bad enough?
Yeah,
You'd still let her bite you though.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So DFS Daily Fantasy Football. What have we got going? Who are the hot properties today?
I am a fan of the Tennessee Titans today. I think they're going to score a ton of points. I think
Son of a bitch again.
Tannehill off the play action is as good as it gets. We've seen that now. It's not just an aberration. It's the truth when you have a guy like Derrick Henry who can destroy you and everybody on your team just running through you. You have to
Didn't
respect.
do it last week.
You have to respect it. It's there.
Bitch.
And from that reason alone, the linebackers have to decide what they're going to do. And that split second allows guys like the aforementioned A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, all the other
Corey
guys.
Davis is going to have a big day today.
I'm hoping. Those guys have been making it happen. And Jacksonville is a very bad football team. So those
Yeah,
two
they're pretty
things
terrible.
together, and again, bad in the sense that they can't stop anybody either. Now, Tennessee's not a good defensive football team. They've been
Evidently.
lit up a few times.
Evidently.
So expect that game to go out today a little bit, shoot up. I think both teams will get on the board, and with Tennessee being the better of the two teams, I think they score more points than the other team, than Jacksonville. So if I'm looking DFS today, I'm looking towards some guys on Tennessee. I like Tannehill today. I also like, as you mentioned,
Gostkowski?
Corey Davis. You could play the kicker too if you have to. But I like Tannehill. I like Davis. I like the Titans today. I think they roll Jacksonville. A lot of points. In the 40s. How about that?
Well, I have gone so far as to build one DFS roster around Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry has always had monster bounce back games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, he has a game where he only rushes for 45 yards, and then the following game it's 210, 3 touchdowns, 91-yard rush, the whole 9 yards. So he's a guy who comes back vengeful after a subpar day. I know that for a fact. And with A.J. Brown, with A.J. Brown,
That's funny.
being
I'm on the
questionable
clock.
today. You're on the clock.
About 5 minutes.
Okay, well then I'll stop babbling long enough for us to get on to the next featured players, because
Yeah.
we're only going to go an hour today anyway. I got all kinds of DFS work to do. So go ahead next.
No, listen, you mentioned Henry. It's difficult. Now, if they go out for 40 today, then you can play every piece on Tennessee's lineup, and you probably do just fine.
Right.
I like the other side today, too. I like Jacksonville's offense. I like Robinson, the running back, today. DJ Chark has been hit and miss this year. He hasn't had the year he's had last year. But he's another guy that if you want to throw in that whole do factor, he usually have a 2-touchdown game today. So if you're into that rookie, I can't pronounce his first name, but Chenault is his last name?
Yeah, pretty much. Chenault.
He's a guy that's been getting
Chenois,
6
Chenou.
or 7 targets. No, I think it's Latavius Chenault. Is that his first name?
Something like that.
Yeah, he's been getting 6 or 7 targets. In a shootout game like today, I can't imagine how that would change. So here's a guy that has big play capability, and he's really, really cheap across the industry, so you can definitely take a flyer with him. So I'm on both sides. Tennessee, Jacksonville, I think that those two games, definitely there's some points in that game. I got a surprise defense for you today.
Oh, do tell.
I think Washington coming off the big win last week against the Steelers was telling. I think their defense is very good. But the other side of that game today, it's a tough travel. Okay, they're in San Francisco. San Francisco, up and down this year, they've looked really good in spots, especially against the Rams for whatever reason. Doesn't make any sense. But I think San Francisco is one of these teams that they're going to start to find themselves a little bit now. They're getting a little healthier. And even though they don't have their quarterback, I think that they're going to just run that ball today. I think they're going to control the clock today. I think they're going to be in some positive situations. I think that game kind of goes under the total, and I think in that perspective, if you can get a cheap touchdown maybe on the defensive side, San Francisco brings a little pressure. They still got one of the best pass rushers in football. So anything can happen from that perspective. Alex Smith is not the most fleet of foot at this point, so I can definitely see maybe a turnover or two from San Fran's defensive side, and I kind of like them in that spot today. So they're kind of like my surprise defense, the Niners. The Niners today, yeah. So I'm throwing them out there too.
I like the Packers a lot.
Defense or overall as a team?
Defense.
Okay.
Defensively. I like the Packers a lot. I think Detroit is in a state of disarray.
Right.
Even though they do have their offensive coordinator is now their interim head coach.
It's such a shame for Stafford, too.
Man,
here's a guy almost Phillip Rivers-esque. Played his whole life for one team, big numbers every year. Yeah, well, certainly Dan Marino's a better quarterback than Stafford. But, yeah, same lineage. Thinking about how guys' environment is so huge in football, and unfortunately he's been stuck in an organization that post-Sanders has just been awful.
Well, I don't want to sound like a sexist or an ageist or anything, but the Lions are run by a little old lady.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Okay,
yeah.
A little old lady like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, little old lady with like a doily around the neck and carrying like an old dollar store purse, and the Ford family. At their best, we're a mediocre ownership family in the NFL. Let's just face facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got lucky on some talent with Sanders, like we said, Calvin Johnson over the years, but those were guys they drafted. And
they're just taking up space. And what's sad is the Detroit and the Detroit megalopolis that is, their media market is friggin' huge.
Their fans are loyal.
Huge. Their fans are loyal.
Yeah, big time.
And they can't get anything together. I mean, my media market conspiracies. All the major markets get all the blah, blah. Detroit is like the 6th or 7th media market in the country. They're huge. They're ginormous.
Yeah.
And they get no traction. Because that family is just blasé. They're not a football family anymore. They're a football family from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, old school.
Okay, and
you have to get it right with the coaching in football. And
real.
And if you can't get your coaching right, then it doesn't matter what talent you put on the field. They've got to be in a position
Is there
to
like
win.
a grandson or a great nephew or something in the Ford family that actually like knows something about football? Maybe he played high school football or played college football for Wesleyan or some crap like that. It's like, seriously, Ford family, get somebody who knows a little bit about football to go ahead and hire people who know something about football and get your crap together. I mean, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, consecutive years of just so bad. Like, I don't think they made the playoffs in, like, what, maybe 17 or 18 years?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I mean, listen, there are a few teams that have fantastic fan bases that I feel really, really horrible for when their teams are bad, and Detroit is one of them.
Yeah.
Detroit is definitely one of them. I mean, I feel bad somewhat for the Raider fans when the Raiders are bad, okay, because, I mean, every game is Halloween with those people. I love them to death.
Now, this isn't a knock on hockey, but when you're a hockey town, when you have other franchises in your city.
So they're a basketball town.
Well, but I'm saying, the success of your team dictates, obviously, where their allegiances lie. And I'm not saying they're not, like you said, it's a huge sports town in general.
Huge.
But when your best sports franchise is your hockey team,
right?
When you have a basketball team, when you have a baseball team, when you have a football team, and every other team, you want to go to LaSalle basketball games instead.
I mean, honestly, have the Detroit Lions ever won the NFL championship?
No, they're one of the 3-4 teams.
I mean, hey, Guru, have the Detroit Lions ever won the NFL championship?
Yes.
Yes, when in the 50s?
Off the top of my head, 1954.
1954, Bobby Lane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Lane.
Fair enough.
That's way before all our times. That's even before the Guru's time, and he's like 105.
Yeah, but it's a lot closer to him than it is us.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why he's a guru, because, he's 105.
Yeah.
He's seen it all. Yeah.
And they won-
Dickie Night Train Lane.
Right, but they also won in 1935.
Oh, okay, 35. So 54 and 35. There you go. And that was probably the last time that somebody knew anything about football in the Ford family for the Detroit Lions.
That was the first year of the helmet. So
face masks,
yeah,
those are
like,
fancy.
They're like, we're going to put laces on the football. Yeah. So,
Mouthpiece.
you know what? Well, you could be the Cowboys and not get to an NFC championship game in 25 years. You can be that team too.
But think about it. It's 1954, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about 70 plus years.
Talking about TV was black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was no Instacolor yet,
Yeah,
or Technicolor,
exactly.
or whatever the hell it was.
If you try to, like hockey has an 06, like they would be like the 012.
Yeah.
They were like one of the old franchises. So Detroit, get your shit together.
Yeah.
There, I'm saying shit again. Shit. So we're about ready to wrap things up here.
Yeah.
So
It's passed. So
that would be your recommendations for DFS.
Yeah.
Good luck in your good luck in your endeavors with the playoffs.
two playoffs today.
And 2 leagues in the playoffs.
Yes.
And I can't even get one.
2 for 2, unfortunately.
And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch my team score 180 points every week.
It's going to be so painful to watch. You know it's going to happen, too.
I know what's going to happen. It happened 2 years ago, and it's going to happen again.
Scoring's not the issue for your team.
I'm just disgust.
Yeah, it sucks.
All right. So on behalf of myself, and we'll do the aftermath of the playoffs and see how things are going next week,
And talk some hoops.
and talk some hoops, and talk some Christmas, because Christmas is coming, and we may make next week our year-ending show, because we all got sort of holiday responsibilities and crap to do, and the following Sunday, which would be the 27th.
Yeah.
I don't think. Aren't you out of town for Christmas?
I don't know yet. No, I'm here. I have my daughter up until Christmas Day. We talked about doing something right after Christmas that week,
Okay.
like you mentioned, but we'll figure it out.
Oh, I was going to say, it's the weekend after Christmas.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on behalf of myself and the Maz, say goodbye to the nice people.
See ya.
Any shout-outs you want to give before you go?
Proud of my daughter. She is in Daytona this weekend for the she plays volleyball. She's on
Right.
the national travel team here in South Florida.
Right.
She just texted me, and she says we won gold, first place. So
Awesome. Fantabulous. Kid. Really nice.
Yeah. So congratulations to my amazing daughter.
Well, and look, she'll get a volleyball scholarship, and you won't have to pay for college.
Oh, let's hope. So let's
She'll
hope.
get a good college education.
Yeah, let's
She'll
hope.
play a sport. She'll have fun. She'll have a great college experience, and you won't have to pay for crap.
Yeah, it's still going to cost.
Might have to buy her a car.
It's still going to cost.
If she gets a scholarship, you got to buy her a car.
Oh, we'll get it worked out. Right now, we've been paying for her like the Florida prepaid.
Yeah.
So we'll have that taken care of when she's ready. So she's got some options, hopefully.
Right on.
So hopefully
Outstanding.
she'll be in a good spot. Yeah. So love you, Bree, and Diana, of course, my wife, my amazing wife. I cannot not say something about her in a shout out.
Stop with the Christmas lights, lady.
Yeah,
you
Nat,
have
but-
enough.
yeah,
you showed me pictures.
Who's this? John Glenn texting me? What?
John Glenn's dead.
His son, John Glenn Jr.
It's the ISS. It's
It's-
people on the space station
Yeah.
going. It's like that commercial. Houston, are you seeing this?
You know, most people's like electric bills go down in the winter months.
Right.
No,
No.
not ours double.
Yours
Ours
doubles.
double, yeah.
your air conditioner goes.
Yeah.
Uncle. Uncle.
Yeah. Well, it takes air conditioning. Fortunately, we've had great weather. It takes a break, but the Christmas lights and the breakers I have to replace from them continuing to pop.
You have lights in your backyard too.
We have front yard, backyard, side yard,
Gigantic
on the roof.
Christmas tree.
Yes, we have 3 Christmas trees.
3 Christmas trees. I got one little piece of crap right over your shoulder right
Yeah,
there.
we have one Christmas tree that weighs 317 pounds. There's a lot of ornaments on that tree.
I have Christmas spirit, and that's just a bit much.
We have a lot of spirit. My wife goes all out, and I'm glad. So that's what she does. She enjoys it. It looks great. The house looks amazing, and it's 99.9% because of her. So
Well, good.
I'm the cheap labor. Move the ladder, take this down, hold this.
Honey,
That's about it.
Hide.
Yeah,
You
that's
hear
it.
that, honey, and you go,
Yeah.
I'm in the bathroom.
That's by choice, though.
Back, kind of like after I had heart surgery. Now it's 3 times 2020 tried to take me out. Remember the bug bite? Got sick from that too.
That was the start of it all.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
to take medication for this crap too.
Yeah.
You know, I was wearing a hat on the show for a few weeks. So 2020 tried to take me out 3 times, and I'm still here, and I'm still here for you. So we will see you guys next week. That was our 60th episode, by the way.
Impressive.
Through all of this crap, we
Yeah.
managed to get in 60 episodes.
I think we've gotten a little better. At least I have gotten a little better at it. You were already there, but it took me about 58 shows to finally get the hold of it, I think.
Well,
So,
as long as I don't die. All right, well, I'm Big Daddy Gonzo. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys next week here on the Gonzo Radio Network at 11 a.m. for the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Peace.